But Jesus gave the disciples authority. One of the comments I have received over and over on my videos where I debunk Mike Winger's claims about elder rule and authority is this. They claim that Luke 22:29-30 contradicts what I teach about the previous verses 24 through 28, and that Jesus is giving authority to the disciples over others. Let's read through and examine the text so that we can shed light on this issue. In the following text, the disciples are arguing over who is the greatest, and Jesus rebukes them. Luke 22:24-30 says, "A dispute also arose among them as to which of them was considered the greatest. Jesus said to them, 'The kings of the Gentiles lord it over them, and those who exercise authority over them call themselves benefactors. But you are not to be like that. Instead, the greatest among you should be like the youngest, and the one who rules like the one who serves. For who is greater, the one who is at the table or the one who serves? Is it not the one who is at the table? But I am among you as the one who serves. You are those who have stood by me in my trials, and I confer, make a covenant, on you a kingdom, just as my Father conferred one on me, so that you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom and sit on thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel." First, Jesus says, don't be like the Gentiles who lord over, or those who exercise authority over and see themselves as benefactors. The greatest needs to be like the youngest. When Jesus uses this word rule, the Greek word means govern. It's talking about leading. Jesus is not saying we are not to have leaders, but that a leader should be like the youngest, or as a servant. The Gentiles led by lording over and exercising authority, but Jesus' way is upside down from the world's way. Jesus, Lord of all, came to serve humanity. He is setting an example of what it means to be humble and serve, and repeatedly tells others, "Follow me." Now, in verses 29 and 30, we see Jesus promising that one day in the coming kingdom, they would sit on thrones and judge the 12 tribes of Israel. But that day has not yet come. Jesus is not talking about judging in this life, but later in the coming kingdom. I find it alarming how many people have told me that this verse shows that the disciples have special ruling authority in this life. But that is not in the text. Jesus has, in the text, redefined leadership according to his way and opposed to the world's way. To lead is to be like a servant. It's no wonder that the word deacon means servant. Those who led and ministered were servants. The Apostle Paul even refers to himself as a servant. Jesus teaches further on this in Matthew 23. Let's read this together. Then Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, "The teachers of the law and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat, so you must be careful to do everything they tell you. But do not do what they do, for they do not practice what they preach. They tie up heavy, cumbersome loads and put them on other people's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to lift a finger to move them. Everything they do is done for people to see. They make their phylacteries wide and their tassels on their garments long. They love the place of honor at banquets and the most important seats in the synagogues. They love to be greeted with respect in the marketplaces and to be called rabbi by others. But you are not to be called rabbi, for you have one teacher, and you are all brothers. And do not call anyone on earth Father, for you have one Father, and he is in heaven. Nor are you to be called instructors, for you have one instructor, the Messiah. The greatest among you will be your servant. For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted." Here again, Jesus is redefining what it means to be great. Jesus says he is our one teacher. He is our Messiah. Jesus should be the main example that we look to. If we're going to pay the most attention to anybody's words in the Bible, it should be those of Jesus. Luke 9:48 reinforces this idea again. Then he said to them, "Whoever welcomes this little child in my name welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. For it is the one who is the least among you all who is the greatest." We miss the entire point of Jesus' teachings when we teach people that to lead is to exercise authority over. The Bible never says that church leaders are to exercise authority over anyone. This idea is totally made up. People have misused 1 Timothy 2:12, which says that women aren't to exercise authority over men, to somehow conclude that it's good for men to do, even though Jesus strictly forbade it altogether. It flies in direct opposition to what Jesus said. Leaders who follow the example of Jesus lead by humbling themselves to the lowest servant, not exercising authority over others. Jesus said that we are not to be like the Gentiles who exercise authority over others. Every single example of exercising authority in the New Testament is not good. It's found in 1 Timothy 2:12. And then the 3 passages where Jesus rebukes the disciples, we looked at one example of that, but that passage is found in 3 of the Gospels. And then the last 2 times are about the Antichrist who exercises authority. There is absolutely zero biblical basis to support the idea that to lead is to exercise authority over. All believers have the power and authority of the Holy Spirit to use their gifts and proclaim truth. But that authority is to proclaim truth, not exercise it as a means of power or authority over other Christians to require them to obey or submit to you. Just because you sit and listen to someone preach a message does not mean that they are exercising authority over you. It's even more ridiculous to think that it's only exercising authority over you if they're preaching to you in a church building. No matter where you are, you have authority over your own self to agree with that person or not agree, to believe or not believe what they are teaching. Merely listening to someone speak is not allowing them authority or rule over you. It's a wild idea to believe this to be the case without any biblical foundation to support it. Even more problematic are churches and individuals who think they have the authority to silence others, such as women. Again, misusing 1 Timothy 2:12, which is specifically calling out a group of women doing something neither men or women ought to be doing ever. All Christians have the authority, gifting, and power of the Holy Spirit. And no church leader has the authority to silence that which has been given to us by God. We are all brothers and sisters with one teacher, one ruler, Jesus Christ. That is the order and hierarchy of God. Jesus, and under him, us. It's not a hierarchy of God, Jesus, pastor, husband, wife, children, slaves. It is God the Trinity and God's people. It is Jesus Christ, the high priest, and all of us, the royal priesthood. We can cast off the man-made hierarchy and embrace the beauty of God, who is not a respecter of persons. Your gender, your status, your age, it doesn't matter. God looks at the heart. He will humble the proud who seek to rule over you, and he will exalt the humble and lowly. God may grant Christians rule in heaven. We may judge angels, but we have not yet been given or granted power over people in this life to rule over them or pass ultimate judgment. Anyone who teaches this is not following the words of Jesus, but following the likeness of the Pharisees, who focused on their authority and their power over other people. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like this, share it, and also hit the subscribe button below and the notification bell so that you can make sure you are getting all the alerts for posts and videos from our channel. And if you'd like to join the cause and become a dissident with us, go to Patreon and sign up for as little as $5 a month.